traders, this is Eagle Star. I am doing a video to show you how I set my charts up at the beginning of every week and throughout the week. If there is a major market move, I'm going to go over the first few pairs that I usually do in the 4-hour time frame and the 1-hour time frame. So sit back and relax, and you can hopefully find a setup off of this. Right now we see the Swissy going like this. It might range like this for a little while and go up on the 4-hour chart. On this almost straight pitchfork. On the pound dollar, you may see something like this. A break down back into this fork. Sellers, and then stepping in. Or we may see something like this. Price will go up, go down, sorry, like this, and then break up and then back down like that. Either way it might work. I'm going to keep the pink fork on just for now because it is a larger swing and it didn't bust the high right here, so the fork is still valid because it didn't make any new highs. So let's look for a drop, a continued drop in the pound dollar. It may stop a little bit above the fork, and this fork that we had drawn in before is no longer valid unless I wanted to draw a sliding parallel from it, which I might do later, but I'll leave it on just for my eyes to see. On the euro, we have a continued climb on this fork. It broke out of it, then went back into it. So you can see that the sliding parallel here worked. And it came back up into the fork there. So price may bounce here. Let me draw arrows in. May bounce there and continue upward, or it may break and give you an opportunity to short against the median line there to the downside like that. So look at both possibilities. For US dollar yen, we have this up fork. Let's see, I believe it's from here. This up fork, and the reason why I use that one is because of the action on the tail here. It may actually be a action-reaction set. So as it comes down here, you want to see if it bounces on this line there. It goes to the upside. Okay. That may be a good area to enter. It just depends on price. I believe that's all for that one. You also may want to draw in a potential fork to the downside to see where price may land. But I think it'll continue to go up here. It may continue to drop. If it doesn't bounce there, it may continue to drop to this line and then continue up. Those are a few things to look for the yen. Okay. Next currency pair, the US dollar Canadian. We saw a nice drop here on this fork. I actually took this trade short here from that level, but it ended up stopping at the sliding parallel extension from the previous pivot right there and going upwards. So what can it do now? It could go down and up, or it could create a sliding parallel here something like that, and continue to go down in the fork. But I don't see that happening because of this huge bar. I don't see that happening immediately, but it could, because that's a huge volume bar. But if you zoom out, you'll see that there's a lot of room for this to play around in. So it looks like it might be ranging up here for a bit before it makes up its mind on what it wants to do. I am biased to the short side because of the new fork working, as well as the fact that it's so far up. It needs to do a retracement sometime. So look for possibilities to short on this line if it continues to show you weakness. And by show you weakness, I mean touch and touch and touch down. If it doesn't, it'll go down, hit this line, and continue up, probably. I'm not going to draw a fork to the upside and keep it there, but I'll just draw it to show you, because it is very steep, and I don't think price is going to gain enough momentum to keep going upwards. For the Aussie dollar, we saw this here. You took a fork all the way from the bottom and we had some entries here that were possible, and these were even more clear on the 1 hour chart. And we also had somewhere in here we had a fork. I believe it was right here. Oh, that is nice though. It's funny how it goes up, and we're trying to do it down, but it did touch the top of that as well, but that's not what we're looking for. Could have been, yeah, it was this, I believe. This high, and that high. There we go. I don't always remember all of them. So drew in the sliding parallel off of this. We'll give you a loose area of where price would reverse on that line to the upside potentially. So now we have price resting here, and looks like there are a few buyers there, but I wouldn't want to see any major trades entered until it starts to show action to the upside on this pink line. Otherwise, it may just be an extension of this. To the upside, which is almost exact. It may just be an extension of that. That's just something to think about. The next pair, Euro Yen, 4 hour chart. So you have the low, high, low. Very similar to the Aussie dollar. And you had a lot of momentum coming out of this bottom area. Price hit the top of the median line and now is going down. It's also near this this area. Sorry. That area as a resistance. I don't trade off of just straight support and resistance much anymore, but look at a potential retrace and potential bounce on that line if it does bounce. Again, Euro Yen is pretty bought, so another potential would be a new median line from the high, like this, to the downside. So that's a potential for a new median line. It's the same thing for the other pairs that we'd said as well, that were a bit overextended. I believe it was the pound. You could also draw a larger median line set. No, sorry. Which one was it? The euro. There you go. You could also draw another larger median line from the high here to the next low to the next high. And look, that there was a nice action point there in the middle here, so that may be also a new valid fork, even though it's very large. That's also another potential fork for the euro. and the Euro Yen is showing you the same thing. It's actually bouncing on that, so if it does fall, it may give you an entry point either here or here to go short if it does in fact drop, but only time will tell. I just give a heads up to what to look for. So potential shorts coming into the market here on that line, and you'd only want to short it after it's broken a few of these lows and shown you some major weakness. After it gets up there. Okay, next pair. Aussie Yen. Very similar to Euro Yen. I believe I'd use this, or perhaps even this high, which works a little bit better, and this downward fork was showing promise, but just like the Aussie dollar fork, it reversed. And went to the upside. And what we can draw is a very similar fork from the high here to the low to the high, and it's very similar frequency of this other blue fork, almost identical. So that is also another possibility as a larger fork to trade off of. So look at potentially this week as well. You may do something like this and continue down. And I had also drawn this sliding parallel before. Next pair, New Zealand Yen. So we have a low here. I don't know if it was this low or this low. But this is kind of a interesting fork to draw because it's such a weird pattern. You have to draw off the width of the high, and I usually don't draw the width off the high. I usually draw the width off the lows. That's a smaller fork that you could work off of with the warning lines. But the one that may be the best is also this. warning line, a width fork, and then a test on this warning line here. It's just a very interesting, very not often seen pattern. I usually don't see that when I'm charting. The reason why I'm using that is just because it's so flat in this area. It's a little bit difficult to draw forks off of such a range like that. So again, look for potential breakdowns in price after this high rise up. You may see something give you a trade off of that fork there. To the downside. So if it breaks this low here hard and gives you some good bars to trade off of, you could potentially enter a short, but wait for a price to show you. So it would go through that, maybe back up, and then give you that. But it obviously also might just keep skyrocketing higher. You know, it might give you signs that it's going up higher on this yellow parallel, yellow median line. So just keep that in mind if you're trading the New Zealand yen. I have some different yen crosses just because I like to trade yen pairs, but that's up to you if you want to trade those or not. And I believe the last one here is the New Zealand yen. We are drawing a modified shift fork from the high, from the low to the high. I'm looking right now to see which one gives me better frequency, the first low or the second low. Yeah, this is the second low on this bottom here. So remember, the modified shift is 50% over, 50% up. Just for you that are starting to follow median lines, you'll see that it's 50% over, 50% up. And I draw my modified shifts manually, where most people use a charting software. So we see many touches on this. And many possibilities to enter. It kept routing this line along beautifully up on here, and it gave you another opportunity to long right there. Now I'm concerned that it's so overbought, just like other pairs this week. I would think that it may do something like this on that fork there if it continues to drop. It may do this and drop, or it may just keep going through to the upside. It just might keep going higher, but I'm going to draw this fork anyways to see how it reacts, because the median line was hit and went down, so I want to see it to keep going through to gain more strength to the upside for potential trade to the upside. But we're making a lot of new ground for the New Zealand dollar, at least new ground since last October. So if that high is broken and continues to go up, there's going to be a lot of room to the upside. Let me see. Well, maybe another 400 pips before it breaks down. So keep that in mind when you're trading this pair. That is pretty overbought, and it may give you opportunities to short for a longer time for most of these pairs actually as well. Well, thank you for watching this video, and I hope it was informative and helpful, and have a great day.